Hi. You want to write cross-genre. Maybe some of you already do. For those of you who don't, what does it mean? Writing cross-genre means writing in 2 different genres, or 3 or 4. Let's say, for example, you write in suspense, but you also want to write in fantasy. Let's say you write suspense, but you also write cozy mysteries. Let's say you write suspense, but you also want to write historical drama or pure romance or children's fiction. I'm here to give you 5 tips on how to make this work for you. Tip number 1, do the work. Sounds easy, not necessarily. When you're writing in 2 genres, you sometimes have to compartmentalize yourself, wear 2 hats. So for example, when you're writing suspense, you just have to stay in that world. In my case, I also write cozy mysteries. And the cozy mystery world is completely different. The language is different. The words that I use, the style I use is completely different. So when I'm writing suspense, I want to stay there. When I'm writing cozy mysteries, I want to stay there. It's not so easy because what if you have a deadline? You've got a book due in the suspense, but you also have PR coming out in your cozy mysteries, in my case. So you have to, again, like I said, compartmentalize. Maybe I'll spend 2 hours doing this one. Maybe I'll spend 4 hours doing that one. Break up my day because I have to devote time to both of my genres. So wearing 2 hats, again, isn't so easy sometimes when I'm writing. I will put on different music for my suspense. I will put on different music for my cozy mysteries. Some might worry about getting writer's block when they're doing this kind of thing. You know, all of a sudden you're writing one project and you start into the next one and it's like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? At number 1, I don't believe in writer's block. I know it exists for some, but I really believe that you can write something every day, okay? So even if it's not the project you wanted, if you were writing suspense and it's just not coming to you, pick up your pen and write the other. Or write a note to your mom, write a poem, write a Facebook post, or write a blog post, write anything, write the grocery list if that's what you need to do. But get your butt in the chair and write, because that's what you do. When you're writing cross-genre, you don't have time to just say, okay, I'm going to take the day off. You really want to devote your time to writing both projects, getting them out there. So look at your schedule, compartmentalize, get your schedule ready, do the work. Tip number 2, do the homework. Yeah, that's right. So when you're doing 2 different genres, 3 different genres, however many genres you've chosen, you have to do the homework. That's the research. You have to do all the research, drum it up, and understand because you're in different genres, it's different research. For example, for my cozy mysteries, I wrote the Cheese Shop mysteries, and I now write the Cookbook Nook mysteries, and I write the Fairy Garden mysteries. And this is different research for each of my different themes. And so when I was doing cookbooks, I had to look up all these different cookbooks, get all these different recipes. When I'm writing the Fairy Garden mysteries, I'm researching all sorts of fairy folklore and I'm going on all sorts of different sites. When I'm writing my suspense, mainly they are set in California. I'm doing a lot of California research. My one series is set in Tahoe, and I love Lake Tahoe, so I love my research. But I'm researching trails, I'm researching the weather. This is the homework that you have to do. In addition, you have to read across genres. So if you're going to write suspense, read the authors that you like, that you want your style to be like. If you're going to write fantasy, read those authors, read the material. Now, one of the things that I've heard friends say is don't read that material while you're writing. And this is interesting because they're very afraid that somebody else's style might bleed into their own. I don't find this happens for me, but I do know other friends that say that it does happen. So you have to make sure that when you're reading across genre, but you're reading in the genre that you're writing, make sure that you're not picking up their material, that you're indeed just keeping to your voice, your style. Also, when doing the homework, you need to find a critique group. Now, the critique group should read the kind of material or write the kind of material that you are having them read, okay, to give you their thoughts. It's not good to have a cozy writer or reader read your suspense if that's not what they read at all. You don't want somebody who only reads fantasy to read your suspense and say, gee, you know, this is too dark, because they don't understand what the material is supposed to be, who your reader is. So make sure that your reader, your critique groups, are the people that understand the material you're trying to put on the page. It shouldn't be your mom. Okay, just a thought, it should not be your mom, because your mom is going to say everything's wonderful. So find someone else. Now, it could be your agent. It could be your publisher. If you've got that, you may not need a whole group, you know, that reads your material. So know your audience, know who's reading your material. This is real important. One more thing about critique groups. A friend once asked me, should I have females to read a cozy mystery and males to read a thriller? No. I think I said earlier that if you have someone who understands the genre, then have those people read it. I have plenty of male readers reading my cozy mysteries, and I have plenty of females reading my suspense novels. So those are the people that I trust to give me the right information, because they know the genre, they know what they're looking for. It does not have to be male or female specific, okay? The next step, finding your agent. Now, it may sound like, you know, oh yeah, it's just so easy. I'll just find one agent, it'll do it all. Not necessarily. One agent may not handle both of your genre. For example, your agent may only handle suspense. Your agent may only handle cozy mysteries, in my case. Your agent may only handle fantasy or nonfiction or whatever your other genre is. So finding an agent that's going to handle both, I mean, that is a dream, but it's not necessarily going to happen. Should you find two agents? Well, maybe. So I have a thriller author friend who said that her agent, there's not a chance he would ever touch a cozy mystery. He only does thriller, period. My agent prefers cozy mysteries because that's what he's comfortable selling. Now, someone like Charlene Harris, she does have the same agent for her cozies as well as her supernatural. Lucky Charlene, woohoo! So this is just something that you should consider is, what do you want in an agent? Do you want a big agency? Do you want a small agency? If you have a boutique agency, again, they may only handle the one genre that you already write, and that's the why you got them in the first place. They may not want to branch out. It's up to you to figure out what you need in your agent. Again, do they handle suspense as well as children's fiction? Do they handle suspense as well as nonfiction? It's up to you to do the research on looking for an agent to find the agent that will do the best job for you in all aspects. And if that's two agents, so be it, okay? So be prepared. Do the research on the agents as well. You can find that. You can find it on Publishers Marketplace. There are all sorts of places to find out about agents, what they represent, okay? So good luck with that. The next step, marketing. All right, this is probably the hardest. The most fun is the writing. The hardest is the marketing. Finding different audiences. I mean, it would be great if your suspense readers all read your fantasy. Great. Project done. But not necessarily, okay? So not all suspense readers read across genre. Not all cozy mystery readers read across genre. Not all romance readers read across genre. Finding your fan base, finding your audience is one of your most challenging things to have to do. Where do you start? Well, you can start with looking at other authors and who they have as their fan base. You can look at their Facebook pages. You can look at their Instagram, their TikTok, their Twitter feed, anything like that. So you're looking for a fan base for each of your genres. Sometimes you have to convince your fan base to read your new material. For example, in my case, my cozy readers all expect cozy mysteries from me. I have tried to educate them that I'm also writing suspense now. And about half of them are reading my suspense. So that's good. I'm building up my fan base. One of the hardest things about social media is that it is so broad. You know, which part of the media works for you best? You can't do all of it. It's really, really hard to do Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and everything else. So pick the ones that really work for you and you think resonate best for your fans. Where do you get the most communication with them? Because that's what you're looking for, is you're looking for constant communication with them. They will come to you looking for your material there. Another source of information for your fans is your website. Now, it's really interesting, but I find that a lot of cozy readers wanting to go to a cozy site expect the site to look cozy. And if they find out that the site is too dark, too thrillerish, they might not stick around and read the material because they may feel it's not suitable to them. So making sure that your website suits your material is vital to your future as an author, all right? James Patterson, for example, he writes thrillers, but he also writes young adult fiction. And what's interesting is that he has, you know, when he first had a website, I remember going to that years ago, and it was dark and it was great. But now it's very light in color. He's allowed to do that. He's made a huge name for himself. People don't care what his website looks like. They just go there. Nora Roberts, who writes under two different names. She writes romance, renowned for her romance, but she also writes a mystery series under the name J.D. Robb. Interestingly enough, she has two websites. She's kept them separate. I remember her saying once that she had kept them separate because she didn't want her romance readers to get confused by what her mysteries were and vice versa. So she has made two names. She has a pseudonym and she keeps it split, separate. So that's something to consider. Do you want a pseudonym for your other genre? I personally do not want that. I had a pseudonym for my very first series. Avery Ames was the name for the writer for the Cheese Shop Mystery Series. And having had two names, I know how difficult it is to market it. I'm sure Nora Roberts has an easier time because she's got a huge fan base, but it's really difficult to market two names. So just beware of that. Somebody suggested that I do a pseudonym with my initials, D.W. Gerber, and as well as that might work for me, the truth is Daryl is already pretty non-generic, so I don't think I need initials to make my name non-generic in order to sell to sell my thrillers or my suspense. One other thing about websites, there are some authors who have split their website into two separate worlds. Right on the entrance page, it says thrillers and it says fantasy. And so you know if you click thrillers, then you're going to go to their thriller site. And if you click fantasy, they'll go to the fantasy site. You can do that. That's okay to make that decision. It's yours to make. When you come up with your website, it should reflect you, your personality, and how you would like your fans to first be introduced to you and your work. Also part of marketing is the PR expense, okay? You have to look at where your dollars are going. If you're now having two series or two genres to promote, that could be a lot of bucks, okay? So you have to look at where that money is being spent. You can get it free on Facebook and Twitter and everything else. If you're gonna have a PR manager, someone who's going to do an awful lot of work for you and charge you $2,000 and $3,000 and $4,000. Do you want to sell just this one genre, just the other genre? Do you want to split your money? Look at your bank book and try to figure out where that money goes most effectively. I have found that social media is an absolutely great way to get my name out there without having to put too much money on the line for trying to promote my two different genres. Okay, so look at your marketing budget, set it up at the beginning of the year. If you choose to self-publish, for example, there's a lot of money that comes with self-publishing. Now, you reap the benefits if you do well by self-publishing, but there are a lot of upfront costs. If you have a publisher, the publisher will take some of those upfront costs. They will also usually have an in-house marketing person that will help you with your marketing. So look where you're selling your material, look at what your budget is. These are all things that you need to know when you're starting to branch out. And if you're going to branch out in 2 different genres, you'd better have the budget for it, and just take that very seriously. And the final step, write another and another and another. This is where you're going to build your audiences. When you have more books out there, when you have more books of real estate on the bookshelf at the bookstore, you're going to find more fans. You're going to build that audience. But most importantly, remember that this is a journey. My sister likes to say that I've been on a journey for a long time, that I love to write. If I don't make a lot of money, it's okay. It's not about the bucks. It's about the stories that I like to tell. I like to share these stories. So look at this as a journey for yourself. Have I discouraged you? Gosh, I hope not. Remember, we're supposed to have a sense of humor about this. We are not rocket scientists. We're not recreating the wheel. We are writing entertainment. Go enjoy yourselves. Have fun.